Welcome to Tuesday's Tips and Tools brought to you by the VSU Center for E-Learning. Today we are looking at gradebook display settings and how to ensure that students can see their grades in BlazeView as you intend. The Grades feature is a primary way of communicating with your students about how they are progressing in your class. Here are some best practices and tips when using the Grades feature. Begin by planning out your grading system before the semester starts. This way, you aren't scrambling to figure out how assignments fit into your course grades mid-semester. Next, when planning out your grading system, make sure you build out a clear framework that also incorporates flexibility. In your syllabus, break down the grading system for your students. Regularly maintain your gradebook so students know where they stand in your class. To be sure that the students are seeing the grades as you intend, use the preview tool with one or more of your students to see the student's grade report. Finally, be sure your grades are visible throughout the semester. Within BlazeView, there are 4 areas in the Grades tool where you can customize how grades are displayed to students. The first area is the Setup Wizard. Let's look at how some options in the Setup Wizard affect how students see grades. Let's go to the Final Grades Release page. On the Final Grades to Release page, you can choose whether to release calculated or adjusted final grade. I recommend using the calculated grade throughout the semester. If at the end of the semester you decide to add points to adjust the final grade, you can use the Setup Wizard to change this option at that time. On this page, you also can check the box to automatically release the final grade. This makes it so you don't have to manually release the grade later. On the Grades Calculations page, you can check the box to automatically keep final grades updated so students can see how each grade item is affecting the final grade throughout the semester. Finally, on the Student View Display options, this is where you'd initially set up the student's view of grades. Options here include point grade value. If you have a weighted grade book, weighted grade value. This is the ratio of points earned out of max points. The next option is the grade scheme symbol. Our default grade scheme is percentage, so if this is on, students will see the percentage grade. The option for grade scheme colors will show the red, blue, or green background in a grade field to give a student a visual representation of the grade. You can also adjust the number of decimal places students see in the numbered grade, both ratio and percentage. The next tool is the display setting. You can access the display settings through the blue gear and settings icon in the upper right corner. This will take you to a page with 3 tabs. Each tab will allow you to adjust some of the settings from the Setup Wizard without having to go back into the Setup Wizard. The first tab is your personal display options. This is where you set the display for how you will see the gradebook. These settings will override what you did in the Setup Wizard if they are different. The second tab is the org unit display options. This sets up the options for how students or other users will see the gradebook for your class. Again, these settings will override what you did in the Setup Wizard if they are different. To be sure that you see the gradebook how a student sees it, make sure the settings for both of these tabs are the same. The third tab is the calculation options. Aside from changing the type of gradebook, you can also change the final grade release and update options. Third is the Manage Grades tab. There are a few different things you can do in Manage Grades, but for our purposes today, we will use Manage Grades to check and fix individual items. Some icons next to the grade item will indicate if an item has limitations for availability or if they are hidden. So if an item has a closed eye symbol or a stopwatch symbol, you can click the context menu and edit that item to remove these issues so a student can see the grade. Other icons will indicate for you how the grade item is related to a final grade for the course, including whether it is a bonus item or whether it's been set to not apply to a final grade item. From here, you can edit each of these individual grade items to address all of these issues. Lastly, you can edit the individual grade. You don't have to be in Manage Grades to edit an individual item in the gradebook. From Enter Grades page, you can click on the context menu arrow next to a grade item to go into the edit screen for that item. You can also enter and release final grades from the same context menu. Click Enter Grades, and from the Final Grades page, click the box at the top of the column to select all of your students, and click Release or Unrelease. This will release final calculated grades if you have that set, or final adjusted grades if you have that set as the display. You can go back and unrelease grades the same way. Another feature that you can use in order to preview how your students see their grades is the context menu button next to a student's name. Click that and click Preview, and it will open the grade report the way the student sees it. This will include their weighted grade or points grade, the final grade, and any individual grades. Please contact the Center for eLearning if we can help you with anything we've covered in this video or for any other assistance as you develop your courses.